In this video, I'm gonna show you how the Palo Alto tags can do way more than just add color to your policies. Hi, if you haven't met before, my name is Ricardo. I'm the founder of NetSums, where we help security professionals level up their skills. And today, we're gonna be talking about Palo Alto tags. So we're gonna cover the topics. What are tags? We're gonna create some tags. I'm gonna show you on the firewall. We're going to use tags on addresses, address groups, and policies. We're going to be tagging also zones. You're going to see that's a little bit different than tagging the addresses. We're going to talk about group tags. And one of the tagging that most people don't know about is to use dynamic groups, or DAG or DAG, as you want to call, with tags. Now we're going to start with the firewall by creating some tags. I'm going to go to Objects, and here under Objects you have Tags. And there you can click on Add. You can see I have some tags already created. I'm going to click on Add, and I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this one, I don't know, DMZ. DMZ Web Server. Yeah? And I'm going to choose a color for this. I don't know, orange. Regarding the colors, what I usually do, and what I've seen also other professionals doing, they have a list, or they have a category of colors, let's say like this, that they start with red for the most insecure network, for example, the internet. So whenever they have the internet, you can see here that I have internet, I chose the color red. So they start with the red, and then they come with some tones of red until they get to green, which would be inside. Where is my inside? Here, that I have green. Outside would also be a red. In my case, outside is really the internet. Doesn't have to be for all the firewalls, but in this case you have outside red, inside green. You have the DMZ with some yellow or orange tones. This is what I usually see that people do. And maybe management or Globe Protect, not this one, Globe Protect, they have a medium. By the way, this is a file that's running on my lab. This is not a production file, so you're gonna see some things here that maybe you think, oh, is it running on production? It's just a test file. Yeah, and you have Globe Protect with the blue. Or if I had a management network, I would also choose maybe a blue tone. And one more, whenever I have some rules that I have a deny, I usually use this block tag with the black. Yeah, but you're free to choose whatever you want. I'm just saying that, or maybe just mentioning some best practice, or recommending you to use something going to green for more secure networks, going more to red for more insecure networks. Yeah. So I have created DMZ web server. Yeah. And why do I use tags? No? We have created a tag. Why do I use it? I'm going to show you maybe practically. Here, whenever I go to address, I can create an address on the firewall. How can I explain address? Address is like an object on the file that has an IP address or FQDN or an IP range. This would be an address. And you can group these addresses in what they call address groups. And all these objects can have tags. You use these tags on them first to give them some color. Yeah, sounds kind of funny, but it does help whenever you're navigating on the firewall rules, or whenever you're looking for some objects. They do help with the color. And because whenever you want to set, for example, an object to a policy, and then you want to set something that's supposed to be inside, and you choose something red, and you're like, did I choose the correct object? Or whenever you see a policy, you have the zone, and right on the side, depends on how you configure your columns. I like to put the zone just by the source or destination. So you have the zone IP address, and then destination zone IP address. And if their colors are totally different, there's something wrong there. For example, if I choose inside, which is green, and then I choose an address that should belong to inside but is red, for me this is already a red flag. That there is something there that maybe I chose wrong. So let's try here with the address. Maybe if you still didn't understand well, just keep watching the video. I'm gonna be explaining you more, showing something practical, and then you're going to understand more what I mean with the color. And the other, I wanted to get to the second point. Whenever you use tags, it makes you also easier for you to search stuff. There are some other benefits that I'm going to show you through the video, but the main ones, I would say, are the colors and the searchable text that the tags have. Yeah. So I'm going to choose here address name. I don't know, Google DNS. Oh, DNS. Okay. Google DNS 8888. And I'm going to set a tag to this. I'm going to set this tag to internet. Whenever I write a tag, you can also click here. If you have a lot, it's easier for you to search. If you don't have that many, just click here and you can select on this pull down menu. But whenever you search, you enter some letters and it's going to show you the tags that have the text that you enter here. In my case, internet, if I have entered inter, you would also find the internet. I click on it, and then you can see here, internet is set as a tag, but my cursor stays here also. I can have objects, or I can have an object with more than one tag. DMZ, which would be the wrong tag. I'm not going to set this one because it doesn't make sense, but I just wanted to show you that you can have more than one. It just looks like this, and it offers you to enter a third one, or you can just go to OK. If you click on this X, the tag goes away. I have the internet. Just notice that the color that object's gonna get is the color of the first tag. Let me just give you an example. If I enter here DMZ web server and I click on OK, let me just find the address. There's the object. I just created this Google DNS. You can see this is red. Why is it red? Because the first tag is the internet. You can drag and drop these tags for them to change the order. If I click on OK, you're going to see that Google DNS changed to orange. I like this internet. Press OK, it goes back to red. And now you can see here on the right side that only one tag is there. This was the address. The same thing you can do with address groups. If you're looking for a VPN connection form or a cheat sheet from the Palo Alto Firewall, head to netsums.com/resources to get yours for free. I'm gonna click here. Group. I like my groups to start with GRP, Google DNS, and I'm gonna click on add. I have my address Google DNS. I should have done Google DNS 1 and Google DNS 2. I'm gonna add a new address here. So Google DNS 2 is the 8844. Tagging internet again. Click on OK. This address has been created. We're gonna go back to address later on so you can see that it has been created. And here my address group, I can also tag as internet. I can, and in my case, I would say you should do it. Press OK. It's gonna come red as the other ones. Here are the two objects. I'm gonna go back to address. I'm gonna change this one to DNS -1, so it's uniform. And you can see here, both of them are red with the tag internet, and the same with the address groups. Let me go to policies now. I'm going to create a new security policy. I want to create on top so you can see. I'm going to erase this one later on. Allow users to Google DNS. I'm going to choose source, let's say inside. I already have a tag. I'm going to show you later how you can tag zones. As I said, source address. Let me just choose something here. Okay, this one. Let's suppose this one is the network that all the users are in. Just an example now. Destination. Now I'm going to choose my outside as my zone. And destination is going to be, I want my group. The addresses come on top and the address groups, they come later on. I want my group to be my destination. Application. You got it. DNS or DNS base as you want. Service application default. Action, I'm going to be allow, and I'm going to click on OK. Did I tag the? No, I didn't tag. I forgot the tag. I can either click here. I'm going to click here and open the. And here my tag internet. Okay, whenever I click on OK, you can see right here, if you have this column tags, which is the standard from the Palo Alto that comes just right after the name, that the tags come, and you can see directly with the color which tags. For example, these block ones, even if I don't pay attention that here, let me just bring this here down. Even if I don't pay attention here that these rules have a deny on their name, I can directly see here under the tags the blocks. Sometimes the filter is gone. I don't know why. I think it's a little bug. You can filter using the tags. For example, like this, you click on, I was too fast maybe, on the side of the tags, whenever you move your mouse, can you see? There's a little arrow pointing down. I want actually this one, internet. I click on this little one, and if I go to filter or global find, the global find is the one that's here where my mouse is. It searches the whole file, and the filter searches the policies wherever I am. If you're using Panorama, it's gonna search the device group that you have chosen here on top. I'm directly on the file today, but if you're on Panorama, it's gonna search the device group where you're in. So I click on filter, and it's gonna come here to filter. This X is on the way, but it says tag/member equals internet. You don't need to remember this command. You can just come here and say filter, and it adds the command. So if I click on enter now, it's showing me all the rules that have the tags internet. You can also search like this, but there's a difference. Whenever you search like this, it's gonna show you all the tags. I already pressed enter. It's gonna show you all the tags, all the rules that have internet in their tags. But also, if you have rules that have internet somewhere on their name or on some of the objects that the policy is using, it's gonna show you also, not only the tags. So like this, it shows you under certain circumstances a little bit more, or a lot more. Now we're gonna talk about tagging zones. Whenever you want to tag a zone, as you can see here, I have my zone and they have nice colors. Whenever you want to tag a zone, in order to show you the nice colors like this, you have to have the zones ready. So you come to zones. Let's create just a new zone so you can see. I'm gonna create a zone which is not this one, layer 3 zone. I'm gonna create DMZ web server. Now this one is not a good idea because I just created a tag. I wanted to show you something else. So not web server, mail server. Okay, DMZ minus mail server. There it is. And then I'm gonna come to objects again, go to tags, and I'm gonna click on the plus, add. And here there's a little pull down menu. You can enter the name that you want, but there is also a pull down menu which shows you all the zones that you have created on the file. I just created this one now, mail server. Maybe I'll create a rule before. Let me create a rule policy. Sometimes it doesn't show. So add. Let me create a rule on top. So if I click on this guy, let me just take this filter out. And if I click on this, add, the third one is okay. And I click on add, it's gonna create just after that one. So test mail server. Yeah, I'm gonna add mail server. Oh, there I have no tag yet. Okay, so I'll leave it without tag. And enter here the zone mail server. This is the important part. The rest I'm just gonna leave at any, just so you can see. So I have the test mail server. I have this zone DMZ minus mail server is the one that I just created, but you can see it has no color. And now if you go to objects, tags, and I click on add, and I choose this DMZ mail server. Again, these are the list of the zones that the file has. This one I just created, and I'm gonna choose a color for it. I'm gonna choose the color yellow orange. Click OK. Let's go back to the policies. You see, you don't even need to commit. There it is. The DMZ mail server has this nice color now. Yeah. Now I can also click here to set the tag. Mail server. Just need to enter mail server. Okay. And there it is. Great. One other thing I wanted to show you is the possibility you probably have seen here that you have group rules by tag. I want to group this one as maybe I'll create DMZ mail server. Click on OK. And I want to create this one. I'll call this one also DMZ mail server, even though it doesn't make sense. DMZ mail server. Also here. Just to show you guys something, okay? It doesn't make sense to have ICMP as a mail server, but I just wanted to show you something. And this one also, DMZ mail server. And now, if you come here on the bottom, you have this default view. You can see 3 rules with a. Do you have a tag group? I don't know if you have tag group. That doesn't. Here group. Yeah, you have a tag group. Okay. You can come here to default view. Doesn't really make much sense to have this column here because there's another view that's a lot better than this one. You can click on this default view and click on Rulebase by group. Whenever you click on that, a new column comes here, and then you can choose the rules that you want to see. In this case, I want to see the DMZ mail server. You click on it. It shows me only the groups that have this group tag DMZ mail server, which is pretty cool. And it shows you also the lines that they are found. So lines 4 to 6. You can do some. It's very no, not this one. Not this one. Here. You can move the selected rules, but I need to make a little bit smaller. That's the one that I was looking for, group. You can change, you can click on this group. Let me just see if I can make it a little bit bigger so you can see better. Where's the group? Here, okay. So, you can change the group of all the rules from this group. You can move all the rules in this group somewhere else. You can delete all the rules. So you can do some stuff like a bulk operation for the rules inside these groups. Okay, these tag groups. And one other thing, if you go here to default view, also for you when you're managing the file and you have some groups like this DMZ mail server is not a bad example, or you could have a group called DMZ only, and you can see all the groups DMZ mail server, web server, whatever you have in the DMZ. You have a group of DMZ, you have a group of maybe internet or inside, bigger group or smaller groups as you want, or standard groups. Sorry, standard rules. There are maybe rules that you allow for everybody. For example, standard rules would be internet or LDAP connection to your Active Directory server, for example, or whatever you want. Kerberos. They have these standard groups, and then you can group all of them to take a look. Maybe if you need, you can add a group tag for them. So like standard groups, and you can come here, rule-based by group, and you choose here standard groups, and you see all of them that you allow for all your clients, for example. No? DHCP. Good. These are the rule-based. These are the tags by groups. You also can use these this menu here as rule-based by tags to organize them. In this case here, you have on the left side a tag browser. Let me just go back to default view. This tag browser gets disabled, and whenever you go to rule-based by tags, this tag browser gets enabled. And in this tag browser, let me just make it a little bit bigger, you can see the tags that you're using and the rule number. which is not bad. It's also a nice way to see, to have an overview of the rules that you have. The best way is to have them, the similar groups, rules that you have, more or less grouped. So if you have here mail server on the rule 4 and 5, it shows you nicely like this, and you can see how many you have here. And you can also do some operations. Here is not so well to see, but here, whenever I go over this inside, there's the arrow again. And if you click on this arrow, you have apply tag to the selection. So you can select some rules and you can apply, there you go. I selected the rule number 5 and I can apply the tag to the selection that I made. Yeah, let's do it. Click on apply. Are you sure you want to add tag inside to the selected rule? He says to, you can add this inside tag either as the first tag or somewhere in the tag group. You can try it on later. It's not bad. And you have also beside the rule number some other operations. You can untag these rules. Do you really want to untag rule 4 and 5 from DMZ web server? I say yes. There, the tags are gone now. And here you cannot see any DMZ web server anymore. Let's go to inside. Let's mark these ones. I'll mark these two, or select it, and I'm gonna apply this one, and I'm gonna say it's the first. Yes. Now they have turned into inside rules. Yeah. Good. So these were the rule base by tags. I'm gonna go back to the default view, and this is. Let me revert what I did. And now I want to show you the, how can I say this, the more dynamic part of the tags. Yeah, you can use tags on the Palo Alto file to, how do you say, to allow or to block some sources or destinations dynamically. They get triggered by events that you can configure. In our case here, I'm gonna do it with my client. I'm gonna connect my client, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna be pushed automatically to a rule called bad IPs. I'm gonna try to resolve a DNS name which is considered from the Palo Alto as a command and control target. The Palo is gonna flag that my computer has triggered a threat. And through this trigger, the Palo Alto is gonna put my IP address in a group called bad IPs. Yeah. I'm gonna explain to you here in practice, so you can get a better idea what I'm saying. So let's go here. I've gone back to what I had before. I had two rules here already created on top: deny bad IPs and deny bad users. And I have here, by the deny bad IPs, let's concentrate on this one first. And I have here as a source a group called group bad IPs. The destination doesn't matter, application also doesn't matter, and the action would be to deny this this source, group bad IPs. Yeah. Let's go to the group to see what's inside it. If I click here again, if I go to the addresses, the little arrow is there again. I click on it and I can go to value, and I have this little more here. If I click on the more, I don't see any people inside this group. How did I create this group? I'm gonna go to objects, address groups, and the group is this one here. And I'm gonna show you how I created this. I'm gonna create a new one called group bad IPs 2. Group bad IPs 2, so you can see. I choose here dynamic. It's a dynamic address group. And when I choose dynamic, the bottom part here changes. It's not a list anymore. And I have to add a match criteria. And this match criteria shows me the list of all the tags that I have, except the, so I have 10 here. I think the predefined, or how do you call it? Yeah, predefined. I have 12. Empty, tolerated, and sanctioned. They don't get shown as far as I know. Let's take a look. group bad IPs 2. Add match criteria. I don't see any of them there, but somehow it's showing me 10. All of them I created. Oh, I have bad IPs as static, as dynamic, because I've used this bad IP somewhere else. Okay, now I'm gonna choose. Let's choose global protect just as to show you. No? When I click on this little plus, it shows here. So it's gonna match. Whenever I have objects that have this tag global protect, they automatically belong to this dynamic group. Yeah. So it's dynamic, and if I click here on more, I don't have any objects belonging to this global protect. I can come here and create an address. I do have this network, but it's not an IP address. Test. Global protect. I need to commit. That's the thing. I need to commit. So my commit is through. And if you go to address groups and I click on here on more, it shows me both of the addresses that have the tag global protect. You may be asking yourself, what's the sense of doing this if I need a commit anyway? If I need to change the tag manually so that it gets to the address group, I can use the list static address group and just set the object to go there, right? It's the same thing. Exactly. But there's something that I didn't show you. You can trigger. Let's erase this bad IPs 2 here. And this one here should have none. Yeah, that's good. So I have this bad IPs, which is matching the tag bad IPs. Okay? Bear with me, because there's more stuff to do. You can trigger, you can let the firewall trigger this tagging of objects automatically. And that's what we're going to do now. So I have the policy done that everybody in this group bad IPs, gets blocked. And I have the group already ready, which is just waiting for people to have this tag, which gets automatically in the group. Yeah, but nobody has this tag yet. So I'm going to create now the trigger that the Palo is going to use to add tags to these objects or to these IP addresses. It doesn't really need, another thing, doesn't really need to be an object. In this case, actually, the Palo is going to do it to an IP address, not an object. The setting the tags to objects which are in the Palo Alto, this is a configuration change, and it needs to have a commit so that it gets registered that an object that's inside the configuration has a tag. What the Palo Alto is going to do with what I'm going to show you now, it's going to set a tag to an IP address that's going to be in the runtime. It means that it's not going to be part of the configuration. This means that when the Palo Alto starts, this configuration, this setting of tags is going to go. It's going to disappear because it's not in part of the configuration. And for this setting that runs in runtime, it's done in real time, and it doesn't need any commit. Let me show you. You come here to stay here in objects. Now you come down here to log forwarding. I've tested this before. Yeah, I'm gonna do this again. I'm gonna erase this and I'm gonna create a new one. Okay, it's being used in one. Let me just erase what I did before, and I am going to, is this one? Yeah. I'm gonna do everything with you guys. So erase. There you go. Okay. Now let's go. I'm gonna create. Let's just let it committing in the background. Okay. Now we are gonna add a new log forwarding profile. Log forwarding is where you actually configure the logs or where you're gonna send your logs to. For example, if you want to connect a file to Panorama and send all the logs to Panorama, this is the place where you'd configure your log forwarding. It means your profile, sorry. What we are doing, you are trying to set tags to some logs. Log forwarding is for me, or log forwarding profile, for me, is not the best place for you to configure this, but it's just like this on the Palo. You just need to know. For me, it's not obvious. I would never look for a place like this if I'm looking for tagging some dynamic objects or dynamic IP addresses, but it's just like this. You go to log forwarding profile, you click on add, and here I'm gonna add bad IPs or tagging of bad IPs. Let's call it like this. The log type, this is now my filter. I want to filter as a threat. And in my filter, I want to select, again, this is a lab. You can be more creative here or go crazy and select wild stuff. I'm going to use the filter builder. I'm going to say whenever I have a threat, this is my filter, yeah? Whenever I have a threat that has a severity greater or equal medium, it means medium, high, or critical, yeah? The file is gonna have this forward method, is gonna forward this to either Panorama or SNMP or email, HTTP, sorry. Whatever you have here is gonna forward these kind of logs that match this criteria to these guys, but this is not what we want now. This is the typical log forwarding, in my opinion, but we want this built-in action. So this tagging takes a ride on this original, I would say original log forwarding profile or a forwarding method for logging, and uses some tagging mechanism whenever a log has matched. Okay, this is on top is my filter. Whenever it matches, it does stuff like this, and the stuff like this that it does is to set tag. It's gonna set a tag to what? To my source address in my security rule, to my destination address. Actually, in the log, no? Whenever you receive a log, you have, for example, syslog. You have source address, blah, destination address, blah, user, blah. In this case, we're gonna be choosing source address because I want the source address that originated this threat to be considered a bad IP. Okay, not the destination. If I'm doing from my client, I hope you understood. If I'm doing from my client a DNS name resolution, if I'm trying to do a name resolution coming from my IP address, and my IP address is trying to resolve a bad name, like a command and control name, I want my computer, my source address, to be blocked because it's doing something weird. Yeah, so that's why I choose here as the source address. The registration is going to be the local user ID. In my case, my IP address is everything running on this file. If you had Panorama or if you have some remote user ID, you can choose here, but probably you're going to be use this local user ID. Timeout, this is actually something really cool. If your IP address gets tagged, in my case, sorry, I jumped one. You can either add a tag or you can also remove a tag if you want. In our case, we want to add this bad IP tag. Yeah. Whenever you add a tag, you have this timeout. It means you can enter here the number of minutes that this tag gets set to this IP address. After that, it gets removed. It's also not a bad thing. You can block an IP address for 60 minutes, for example. It's going to be 1 hour to be an example. I'm going to leave it at 0. This is the standard, the default, sorry. And here under tags, I can choose the tags that I want to set. In my case, I want to set bad IPs. Yeah. I click on OK. And I have my log forwarding profile built. So if I go to OK, you see, I'm not forwarding any logs anywhere. I'm just using this functionality to set the tag. Click on OK. Have to add a name. Set tag, log forwarding set tag. Okay. Which tag? No? Set bad IPs tag. So I have this forwarding profile done. Now I need to go to policies. And I need to add this to my deny bad IPs. That's not correct. I need to add this to the rule that's gonna be used. How can I explain? It's the rule that's gonna match this DNS request that's gonna be treated as a threat. I'm gonna be connecting myself using Global Protect. So I'm gonna have a Global Protect client. I'm gonna make manually a DNS resolution to a bad name. And this DNS is gonna match this rule. So it means in this rule, I need to have this log forwarding profile set. Okay? Yeah. So this rule, together with this login profile, this rule is gonna match, and it has a login profile, which is gonna trigger my setting of my tag. And after my tag gets set, this rule here, the first one, is gonna block my IP addresses. Sorry, my IP address, singular. I hope you understood. Let's commit this configuration. And then we're gonna simulate, and you're gonna see what happens. Yeah? In the meantime, I'm gonna connect myself using Global Protect. So my commit is through, and I have here my client connected to Global Protect, and it has the IP address 192.168.100.1. I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna open my prompt. I'm gonna ping Google. Leave it pinging, and now here, let me see if I have dig. I think so. Yeah, dig. I'm gonna use 44. Doesn't matter. Anyone. And the address that I want to add is this one here. I'm gonna leave in the description this one if you want to test by yourself, because I know this domain will be sinkholed from the firewall. The Palo Alto firewall has this domain as a malicious domain in its database. One thing I forgot to show you here on my Global Protect rule, I have under action my profile setting active. If you have here none, the firewall will never see any threat going through this rule. You have to select a group profile so that the firewall can inspect the traffic going through this rule, being matched with this rule. And I'm going to show you what this default is. Go to Objects, Security Profile Group. You have here the default. And you have an antivirus profile set to default, anti-spyware profile. This is the one that's going to match the DNS sinkhole. That's going to trigger. The vulnerability protection profile, URL filtering. But the important one for our test now is this one, anti-spyware. Okay, let's go back to the, let me see here, my windows. These ones. So I have here on the left side, Google. I'm going to stop and start again. And here I'm going to press enter. Took a little bit, maybe 2 seconds. Now you can see the ping on the left side is not working anymore. What happened here? The Palo Alto noticed this DNS, what do you call it? DNS request to this domain. And the Palo Alto said, moment. If you go to threat, you're going to see here, this is my source address. Let me just close this one. It's a spyware. Well, it's the type is spyware, but actually the category is, it's not showing here, but it should show DNS sinkhole or something with DNS. DNS malware, sorry, not DNS sinkhole, DNS malware. Yeah? Doesn't really matter if it was DNS malware or whatever it was. The important thing for us is that the severity is medium. So it means either medium or high or critical. This medium here is enough for the trigger that we configured to be, to be triggered. Yeah? the action to be triggered. So the action has been triggered. Which was the action? Go to object, go to address group. The action was to add a tag to this IP address, which is mine, is the 100.1 in the end. 192.168.100.1. If you click here on more, this is the tag that we set. No, sorry, this is not a tag. This is the dynamic address group that gets, whereas the users get added when they have the tag. So if I click on address, I see that my IP address is there, and it's a registered IP. And here I can, if I don't want this IP address to be there anymore, I can do it also manually to remove from the group. I'm gonna do this, but I want to do this together. Let me just minimize this window so you can see here. A bunch of stuff open. Not this one. There. If I come here and click on unregistered IP, you can see it on the left side. The ping to Google is still not being working. You notice that I didn't do any commit. That's what I meant. Different from the one before that I set manually the tag to the address or address group. I remember to the address. Now the thing done automatically is not necessarily necessary to do a commit. So I come here to unregistered tags. I need to tell the Palo which tags are we talking about. So I'm talking about the local registration source as local, and the tags is the bad IP tag. So I click on OK, and here I'm gonna click on OK again. Notice the left side. Takes a little bit, and then boom. Yeah, it's working again. I think here doesn't work like this. I have to close and open again, but I'm gonna see that the window is empty now. Yeah, not bad, huh? This is actually a pretty cool feature. Like I said, you don't need to filter all the threats from medium, high, and critical. Maybe you can start with critical, and if they're high, but medium, I would be careful to do some production. But like the critical and high, you could try. You can also, let's go there. You can also do some filtering like this. Let me just make it bigger. F11. You can go a little bit more crazy here with your filter, and you can say also, and you can also filter just for a special network. Maybe you have a test network, source address in no, not this one. Okay. For example, you can have a network like this, or you can also use a not in. So you can have maybe 3 or 4 networks that you say, okay, for these networks, I have everything is critical. I don't want anything to be blocked here. For all of the other networks, I want to be blocked. I want to block. So you can also use some source network, destination networks, only for DNS. I don't remember what it is. Like a type. Type should be spyware, as we saw now. But you can see the filter here is a lot equal. Yeah, there's spyware, for example. That's where we were. Can filter a little bit more. So if it's I don't know, a flood or like this, you let go through. But if you notice some spyware, and I think you have subtypes also. You need to take a look, but you can filter even deeper. If you have the number of the threat, you can also enter here threat ID. Should be called threat ID or name equal. Blop, you enter the threat ID, so it's gonna only match, only if it matches this threat ID and the severity and the network, I don't know, I'm just making it up. And then it sets the tag, yeah? So you can filter it very detailed, so it doesn't match all your network and nobody else can work, for example, yeah? Take a look, it's not a bad feature. Something similar, I haven't tried this one yet actually, is with the dynamic user group. I created a dynamic user group and I set the tag as being bad users. Instead of address group, you have the dynamic user group. And here, we can try to set the tag as the bad users. You commit this and see if it works. Because this one, to tell you the truth, I haven't tried it. So the commit is through. And I'm still connected with the same IP address, connected as Ricardo. And let's take a look. I'm going to do the same now, because I still have the severity medium. Let me see where my windows are. This one and this one. Let me try this. So nothing happened. So let me see what it's doing. Yeah, you did see here a drop in DNS base. So let me go to Objects, Dynamic User Groups. If I go to More, it didn't list register new users. It didn't register my user, but I am connected as Ricardo. There. Yeah, this one. Let me take a look what I forgot. Okay, guys, I think I found the error. If I go to logs, not this one, objects, log forwarding. Here, I use the source address. I don't want to set the target source address, but I want to set the user. The user should get this bad users. So I press on OK. Okay. Then I'm going to commit this configuration. Let's check. Now let's take a look again. Okay, I'm going to stop this ping, start again, and then do again my dig. Let's see. Ah, now it looks better. Okay, so now let's take a look at monitor. We're here under threat. And now under threat, I imagine I'm going to be able to see something dynamic user group. It actually should show me something under dynamic user group, but let's take a look here under objects. Not this one, dynamic user groups. Take a look here. Ah, there you go. So my user is now being part of the dynamic user group, Ricardo. Actually not here, no? It should go to the traffic. So let's go to monitor, not the threat anymore. The traffic, because now it's being blocked directly. So it's not going through threat anymore. If I have a here dynamic user, there you go. Dynamic user group. Now whatever is being blocked, DNS to Google, whatever it is doing, it's showing that the dynamic user group for my user Ricardo is matching this dynamic user group bad users, and it's being blocked because I have here policy deny bad users in the second position with the bad users here. The same thing, we can have this. Let me see if I can move it to the side again as I did before, and let's go to objects, dynamic user groups, and here I can use more. Click here and unregister users, bad users, click on OK, and I don't even need to click on close. It's already working again for my user Ricardo. So it's more or less the same thing that's been used for the dynamic address groups. You can also have for dynamic user groups. Instead of setting a tag to the IP address in runtime, it sets the IP address to the user Ricardo. And it didn't work in the first time. Let's just recap. Because here, log forwarding, I forgot to change my my target. Instead of being the source address, which was the first example with the IP address, that is supposed to set the target, the tagging, that's what I meant. It's supposed to set the tag not to the source address anymore, but to the user Ricardo. Yeah. One last thing I wanted to show you also regarding the dynamic user groups. Dynamic address groups. Just go to F11, we can see better. Is the use of API. So let me see, objects, address groups. I have group add IPs. This one now is empty. And I want to use my API now to set a tag to the IP address. So instead of using my log forwarding, I can also use the API to set a tag to an IP address. It's actually not bad. So the command now should be this. I already prepared this. Wait, but I need to copy correctly. There it is. Oh, I already sent. I didn't want to send. It already worked. Okay, I'm gonna show you here and then we go to the file. So I should set it a little bit bigger now. Edit, not find. Can I not set it bigger? I could before. Properties, that's what I meant. Font 24. Okay, here you can see a curl. Curl is a command to I have here a window in my Windows, which I'm simulating the Ubuntu Linux server. It's called WSL. Forgot what it meant. Windows something Linux. I think it's WSL. And you have curl -k, so it doesn't check the certificate of my file, and then it posts this HTTPS. This is my file address /API. Type user ID. I want to change something in the user ID, which I want to send the email, set a tag to an IP address. You also use this user ID type. Okay. The key. This is my key to access the file. And the data that I'm sending is inside this file here, which contains cat. How do you copy? Control C. Yeah. And this is the message that I have. I'm sending an update to this IP address, which is my IP address from my VPN you saw before, Global Protect, and I'm setting the tag bad IPs. I'm gonna put this also in the description, so you can take a look and you can adapt for yourself if you want to adapt this. And I'm reading this file and I'm sending this information here to the file. And what the file does, if I go now to here, I can see that it was registered through the API. Pretty cool, huh? And now I don't have access to anywhere anymore. And I think that's it that I wanted to show you about tags. Thank you very much for watching this video until the end. I know it has been a while that I haven't been around. I had some issues, personal issues that I had to take care of, but now I hope that I'm gonna be able to release more videos for you more frequently, and I hope you got some value from this one, and maybe this one here also can help you further with the Palo Alto configuration, and I hope to see you soon on the next one. Bye bye.